The old Victorian house creaked and groaned like a dying beast, its silhouette a jagged tooth against the bruised twilight. Inside, the air hung thick with a scent of dust and forgotten dreams, a chilling counterpoint to the playful laughter echoing from the nursery. For children, a boisterous brood of vibrant hues and boundless energy chased each other through the sprawling rooms, their voices a joyous cacophony. Little Jess, the youngest, with her cascade of golden curls, giggled, her tiny hand outstretched to snatch at the flitting shadow of her brother, Tom. He, a whirlwind of freckles and mischief, shrieked with delight, his laughter echoing through the cavernous hallways. Their older siblings, the twins, Rose and Finn, were engaged in a more sedate pursuit. Rose, with her fiery red hair and a book clutched in her hand, read aloud to Finn, his brow furrowed in concentration as he followed the fantastical tale. The nursery, a haven of childhood whimsy, was a riot of color. Stuffed animals lay strewn across the floral-patterned rug, a testament to the day's adventures. Wooden toys, both ancient and modern, littered the floor, a testament to the passage of time. But amidst the playful chaos, a sense of unease began to settle over the house. A low rumble of distant thunder seemed to emanate from the depths of the old house. The children, initially oblivious, began to notice. Jess, the most sensitive, paused her chase, her eyes widening in apprehension. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Tom, ever the brave one, scoffed. "It's just the wind, silly." But his bravado was unconvincing, his gaze darting nervously towards the darkened hallway leading to the attic. Rose, ever observant, lowered her book. "It's not the wind, Tom. It sounds angry." A chill, colder than the autumn breeze that seeped through the drafty windows, snaked down their spines. Finn, usually so engrossed in his stories, felt a sudden urge to huddle closer to his sister. The growling intensified, drawing closer, inching its way up the grand staircase, each step a heavy, deliberate thud against the ancient wood. The children exchanged terrified glances, their laughter replaced by a suffocating silence. Jess, her face pale as moonlight, clung to Tom, her eyes wide with fear. "It's coming, Tom. It's coming for us." Tom, despite his bravado, felt a shiver crawl down his spine. He tried to maintain a facade of courage, but his voice trembled as he whispered, "We have to hide." Rose, her book forgotten, grabbed Finn's hand, her grip tight. "The closet! Quick!" The children scrambled towards the large oak wardrobe, their hearts pounding like war drums. They squeezed inside, the musty scent of old clothes filling their nostrils. They held their breath, their ears straining to hear the approaching footsteps. The growling intensified, closer now, the sound of heavy breathing joining the cacophony. Then, a blood-curdling shriek pierced the air, followed by a deafening crash. The children, huddled together in the suffocating darkness, exchanged terrified glances. The growling continued, circling the wardrobe, its hot, fetid breath brushing against the wood. The children whimpered, their fear reaching a fever pitch. Suddenly, the growling stopped. A chilling silence descended upon the room, more terrifying than the growling itself. The children dared not breathe, their hearts hammering against their ribs. They waited and waited and waited. Then, a faint scratching sound, like claws against wood, began to emanate from the floorboards. The children exchanged terrified glances. The creature was below them. They felt the floorboards tremble, as if the creature were trying to claw its way through. Jess began to sob, her tears soaking through Tom's shirt. The scratching intensified, the creature growing closer, inching its way towards their hiding place. The children squeezed their eyes shut, burying their faces in their hands, praying for the earth to swallow them whole. Then a sudden, violent jolt shook the house. The children screamed, their fear reaching a crescendo. The wardrobe, their sanctuary, began to tilt precariously. They braced themselves for the inevitable, their minds filled with images of the creature. A monstrous apparition with claws like razors and eyes like burning coals, emerging from the floorboards to claim its prey. But then, as suddenly as it began, the shaking stopped. The wardrobe righted itself. Silence, thick and suffocating, once again enveloped the room. The children, trembling, dared to open their eyes. The creature was gone. They cautiously emerged from the wardrobe, their eyes scanning the room for any sign of the creature. But there was nothing. No sign of the creature, no sign of the destruction, no sign of anything out of the ordinary. They emerged from the closet, their hearts still pounding, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. The nursery, despite the recent turmoil, appeared unchanged. The toys lay scattered across the floor, the stuffed animals remained strewn across the rug. But the silence that hung over the room was palpable, a chilling reminder of the terrifying ordeal they had just endured. They crept out of the nursery, their footsteps barely audible on the creaking floorboards. The house, once filled with the sounds of their laughter, was now eerily silent. They made their way downstairs, their hands clasped tightly together, their eyes darting nervously at every shadow. The grand staircase, the source of their terror, loomed before them, its ancient wood gleaming ominously in the dim light. They descended the stairs with trepidation, each step a hesitant advance into the unknown. The silence, broken only by the rhythmic thud of their footsteps, seemed to amplify their fear. They reached the bottom of the stairs, their eyes scanning the dimly lit hallway, searching for any sign of the creature. But there was nothing. They crept towards the living room, their hearts pounding like war drums. The room, with its velvet-covered furniture and antique fireplace, was shrouded in an eerie stillness. They entered the room cautiously, their eyes scanning the shadows, searching for any sign of danger. But there was nothing. They sank onto the velvet sofa, their bodies trembling, their minds still reeling from the terrifying ordeal. "What was it?" Jess whispered, her voice barely audible. Tom shook his head, his face pale and drawn. "I don't know, but it was terrifying." Rose, her eyes wide with fear, clutched Finn's hand. "I don't ever want to hear that growling again." Finn, his voice a mere whisper, nodded in agreement. They sat in silence for a long time, their fear slowly giving way to a sense of disbelief. Had it really happened? Or had it all been a figment of their imaginations, a product of their overactive imaginations? But the memory of the growling, the scratching, the shaking was too vivid, too real to be dismissed as mere fantasy. As the hours passed, the fear began to subside, replaced by a lingering sense of unease. The children knew that something had touched their lives that night, something dark and sinister that had emerged from the depths of the old house to terrorize them. They never forgot that night, the night the creature came down the stairs. The memory of its presence, its terrifying growls, its chilling breath, haunted them for years to come. The old Victorian house, once a place of joy and laughter, was forever tainted by the shadow of that night. The children, forever scarred by the terror, never felt truly safe within its walls. The creature, whatever it was, had left its mark on them, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their seemingly idyllic childhood. And as they grew older, they often wondered if the creature was still there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the opportunity to strike again. The old Victorian house, with its creaking floorboards and whispering walls, continued to stand, a silent sentinel of the terrifying events that had unfolded within its hallowed halls. And the children, scattered across the globe, would occasionally find themselves awakened by the sound of a distant growl, a chilling echo of the terror they had endured that fateful night. But that is a story for another time.